Growing your own raspberries is really simple, and as a bonus, they taste delicious. Here's how. What you're gonna need is some compost, sheet pellets, strawberry mix, stakes and wire to make a frame, and of course your raspberry plants. Raspberries come in two types: single bearing, which after their first year produce fruit once a year in summer, and then ever bearing, which fruit in summer and autumn every year. All raspberries are self-fertile, but as a rule, planting a few different varieties within the same type will make for better cross-pollination and more fruit. There are lots of common varieties to choose from, but today we'll be mixing aspiring and ebony. Planting out these raspberries takes a little bit of easy DIY because we're going to build them a frame. But first, let's prep our soil. Add your sheet pellets for nutrients. Then your compost. And give it a good mix through. Next, you want to add a layer of strawberry mix on top, which is the perfect mix to start your raspberries off. Now to build our frame, we're going to take a few of these stakes. We're going to put 3 down this end, 3 down the other end, and then 2 in the middle. Now I've placed these about 20 centimeters apart. I'm going to drive them down about 50 centimeters each. You want to leave at least a meter out of the ground. Now this frame is going to give the raspberries some support as they grow. And the last 2 go in line with our middle stakes. Right, that's looking pretty even. We'll attach our first row of wire about 25 centimeters up. Just do a little twist around your stake. And wind it out. And just stay about 25 centimeters above the soil. That can be a little bit fiddly, but you really want to keep the wire quite taut and just making sure you're maintaining that 25 centimeters above the soil. When you get to the end, just give yourself a little bit of slack, trim it off, and then just do a double wind. Now we're going to do 2 more rows, each spaced 25 centimeters apart. Now at the ends, we're just going to do the same height, pull it between these 3, and that's just going to give the whole structure a bit more rigidity. It always pays to put a few staples in, just to help keep everything in place. Next, space out your raspberries. We're going to go 2 between each stake. Dig a hole roughly the same size as your pot. Check the height. And that's looking pretty good. Just give it a little squeeze in the pot just to free it up a bit. They are spiky sometimes, you might want to wear gloves. Just pop it in. You're trying to get the canes parallel with the wires. Then just backfill around it. Pat that down firmly and move on to your next one. Then you want to tie them up. As these raspberries continue to grow, they'll send little runners under the soil, which will send up further canes. Just continue to tie those off and train them up the frame. It'll keep it nice and tidy and keep them sturdy as they get bigger. And lastly, give them all a big drink. For raspberries, a warm, north-facing, sheltered spot will give you better tasting fruit. And soil should be free draining and topped up with plenty of compost and organic matter. Raspberries are best planted in winter or spring, and fruit in summer and autumn depending on the type. For single bearing types, prune canes right back to the ground each year after fruiting. For ever bearing, cut out the old canes that carried last season's fruit and trim the new canes to 2/3 of their height. July is a great time to do this. Regular watering will increase your crop, but excess watering can result in root rot or poor yield. Give your berries their annual dressing of lime or gypsum in August and then feed with strawberry fertilizer in September and April. Birds love berries, so if you don't want to lose your whole crop, drape a bird net over the frame while fruiting. There are a number of pests and diseases that can affect berries, but most are easily controlled. If you do have persistent problems, come and see us in store. If you're a fan of raspberries, plant a couple of rows in your garden and enjoy the summer harvest. Easy as. And make sure you subscribe to the Mitre YouTube channel for more great content, or click here to watch more.